Shall we start?
I think let us start. 29 participants have joined.
Yeah, 30. Shall we start, Pradnya?
Yeah, just one question, Aditi. You want me to run the video after your presentation, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, shall we start, Pradnya? Okay. Welcome and very good afternoon. On the behalf of Shashwat Eco Solution Foundation, I, Dr. Nivedita Morir, Project Director, Shashwat Eco Solution Foundation, welcome you all for the webinar Rural Development. Today, we are with us Mr. Nayan Khambati, Advisory Board Member, Shashwat, Nation Expert for Water and Sanitation, Mr. Vikas Kulkarni, Director, Shashwat, Drinking Water Expert, Mr. Udayan Bhatt, Board of Director, Prasad Chikitsa. Welcome you all for today's panel discussion. I request all the participants to put off your mic and video. During the discussion, you can raise your question in the chat box. We'll try to recover as much as questions after the completion of session. India has the highest rural population. 65% of the people of India lives in rural area today. Hence, rural development remains the core of overall development of the country. An increasing urbanization and change in the global production networks have transformed the nature of rural areas. Rural development is a complete term that concentrates on action taken for the development of rural areas to improve village economy. One of the few areas that demands more focused attention is health and hygiene. Shashwat had done noteworthy contribution in the various areas of rural development. It includes capacity building, health, hygiene, sanitation, water, wastewater, green village, and successful implementation of solid waste management, to name a few. Shashwat is NGO situated at Pune, having team of expertise in different environmental areas in India and abroad, working for sustainable solution for mankind with various stakeholders like government, organization, corporate sector, as well as economically weaker and physically challenged sector in the society. Shashwat is trying to achieve sustainability through environmental efficiencies, social elevation and economic enhancement of weaker sections since last 10 years. With this note, let us start with our first session, need assessment. Dr. Aditi Kale will be sharing her study on need assessment related to our today's topic, that is rural development. Dr. Aditi is an executive director of Shashwat. She has done doctorate in management, having more than 23 years of experience in academics as a statistician. As a statistician, she authored a book on decision theory, statistics, and research. In addition to this, she published 11 international papers on various subjects. She also provides guidance to MPhil and PhD aspirants. May I request Aditi to start his session?
Thank
Aditi?
you, Nivedita, for nice introduction. Let me share the screen. Hello, everyone. So let us start with this social and environmental need assessment study. Am I audible?
Yes, little bit more.
Okay. Social and environmental need assessment study. When we talk about social and environmental need assessment study, basically why this study is important is the first thing we should think of. Almost all of us have seen the movie Three Idiots, and in that we have also seen that if parents want the child to become engineer and the child is not interested in engineering, he becomes a very poor engineer, or the thing is not worked out well. So is the case with the villages in India. Many of the companies are putting lots of funds in of their CSR in the villages, but still we are not getting that much development in the area of villages of India. And the reason behind it is the need assessment study is not done properly, and whatever the companies are feeling are poured in the villages, and therefore the results are not acquired. Considering Shashwat has studied around 22 villages from 4 different states of India, that is Uttarakhand, Gujarat, Maharashtra and Telangana. In Maharashtra, Shashwat has reached around 6 districts, that is Jalgaon, Nasik, Thane, Mumbai, Pune, Satara and Solapur. Shashwat has also a tie-up with Arizona State University from USA. Now, why or what are the objectives and scope of this study? The objective of this study is to identify the need of the village from social, economic, and environmental aspects. The scope of a need assessment study starts with the baseline study, identification of stakeholders, detailed systematic assessment and analysis of socio-economic and environmental data, issues of environmental factors like sanitation, solid waste management, health and hygiene, political conditions of beneficiaries, community involvement for authentic and factual information, provision of sustainable solutions on the basis of assessment and analysis performed. Now, the methodology for survey and data collection. Obviously, secondary data is available with village panchayat or in
बाबांना सांगते ना जरा किंवा
Tehsil office.
मला ते माझा ना तो म्युटेड म्हणतोय आणि व्हिडिओ पण नाही दिसत आहे. हां माझी मीटिंग नेहमी
The secondary data is collected from this village available data. Then the primary data is collected by 9 different methods. Obviously, initial survey with Sarpanch and Gram Sevak. Then transact walk to understand the village by the actual seeing. PRA activity, then women's FGD. We all are aware that women are very talkative. When they are asked to speak up, they are shy, and from the villages they are very shy and therefore they don't come up. But when in a focus group they are encouraged to talk about their issues, lots of issues can come up through these women FGDs. Then common village FGD, technical survey, household survey, school detailed survey, because this is the base of the development, and then village mapping with all the participants. Here, every time we take the participatory approach, we encourage the villagers to talk about their issues, and therefore their needs are actually noted down. While noting down all these needs, the basic topics covered are education, health, water, solid waste, social and infrastructure needs or issues. The process of this analysis is done as identification of issues, derived need, solution to address these needs, specific interventions, and then key activities are defined based on these specific interventions. Thus, the areas of interventions for all these 6 topics are derived. Let us see one sample study which we have conducted in one of the village, which is almost similar to maximum of the villages from India. Considering education and employment, the issues noted down were lack of fixtures and furniture in the school. If you look at the photograph, you could see that students are sitting on the ground. They even don't have the mattress to sit on. So like this is the scenario in most of the schools of the villages of India. Low literacy rate, poor understanding of basic subjects like maths and science, old dilapidated school structure, employment for above 18, less wages for women than men. So this highlights for the capacity building also. These issues guide us for the needs like fixtures and furniture in school like benches, tables, drinking water plant, etc. Functional literacy to adult population, provision of better education quality for basic subjects like maths and science, teachers training, provision of skill trainings, and new building for the school. So from these needs, we could come up with the interventions, that is school amenities, basic education, green education, vocational training, and basic infrastructure. Considering the green education, Shashwat has reached around 5,000 plus students covering the green education aspect. And in this pandemic, we have seen that we all are emphasizing on hand washing for 20 seconds, which we have already taught to this students to whom which we have reached. Shashwat has done covered many of the villages as well as urban areas like Kandivli or Walkeshwar as well in the Pune region. Coming to the next topic, that is health. This issues found were waterborne diseases, lack of awareness about menstrual hygiene, prenatal care is very less, no healthcare facility in the village, lack of awareness for self-cleanliness. From these issues, we derived the needs as drinking water treatment systems, IEC, that is information, education, and communication on menstrual hygiene for women, availability of healthcare checkup facility. These needs guide us towards drinking water treatment system, medical checkup van or healthcare facility in the village, and IEC for women. In this webinar, we are going to have one panelist as Mr. Udayan Bhatt, who will be telling us about how Prasad Chikitsa has applied their healthcare facilities for the rural and tribal areas. Then water and solid waste management. The issues found out were lack of solid waste management, choking of open gutters due to waste deposits, no proper drainage lines, mosquito breeding, no community toilets, insufficient water supply, lack of water for agriculture. The needs found out were waste collection and processing system, strengthening drainage system, wastewater treatment system, rainwater harvesting for bore wells supplying to village, farm burns for agriculture. Again, coming to the next, social and infrastructure, alcoholism and vandalism, abuse to women, child marriages or double marriages, bad condition or incomplete work of concrete roads, bus stop is too far or not available in the village, lack of space for community meetings, closing of alcohol stalls in the village is the need, and strengthening the woman or empowering the women, that is through capacity building or IEC is the need. Internal village road construction, community hall for SHG like activities, bus stop for local transport are the needs found out for social and infrastructure aspect. Shashwat has come up with a green village concept where a holistic approach is taken, and while considering the green village concept, these 12 points were considered as highlighted, that is water conservation, clean drinking water supply, rainwater harvesting, integrated school model, wastewater and grey water management, solid waste management or composting system, promotion of non-conventional energy, management of human and animal waste, promotion and development of sustainable farming, use of less pollution emitting fuel, forest management and biodiversity management, land use and planning, and plastic roads. So if we could cover all these aspects, we could come up with a green village. For promotion and development of sustainable farming, Shashwat has done one case study with the farmers from Jalgaon district. Here, the fertilizer used was a human urine. Human urine was collected with the less water treatment system. Through the cartridge it was passed out, and then it is stored in the storage tank, and then through drip irrigation it was circulated to the farm. This reduces the cost of fertilizer, reduces the use of chemical fertilizer, obviously enriches the quality of soil through nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, and micronutrients, increased agricultural productivity in terms of quality and quantity of produce, which leads to food security, conservation of water and soil. So, the effect found of using the urine is shown over here. That is, with fertilizer used as urine and not used as urine, you could see the difference from the photograph. In this case study, basically from the 20 farmers of that village, only 2 farmers were ready to implement this project. So those were chosen. Their farm was surveyed. Their farm was surveyed. Then their crop was studied. Their challenges were noted down. That is the fruit size, fungus on soil, leaf fall, or blackish roots. Implementation with this WSU for urine collection gave us storage of urine, that is treatment for the urine. Then existing soil condition analysis was done. And after applying this urine fertilizer through drip irrigation, frequency was used as every 15 days the thing was done, and 4-acre land was used. Replace their existing liquid fertilizer with treated urine. And the observations found were fruit size increased, dark green leaf color, soil fungus reduced, better yield, and root whitened, increased the length of the root. So this is how this urine as a fertilizer was the excellent experiment from that village, and the farmers got greater yield that year. Shashwat also has implemented many of those points in the village Devghar with the participatory approach. In this, ACG Care Foundation have given the funds of their CSR, as well as the villagers were educated, and then they were encouraged to participate in all the treatments and implementation. Here, the things used were proper sanitation practices, solid waste management, eco-friendly wastewater treatment system, plantation, and capacity building through IC. We could see that compost system, that is composting, was done. Here the integrated school model was created, out of which one of the component was composting at school. So whatever waste was done, have them with their in their khichdi or tiffins, they used to put up the waste in this composting pits, and at the early stage or early age, students were guided to go for the composting of the wet waste. Then to the villagers, the crates were given. This is a very robust system developed by Shashwat. Also, one of the lady, that is Asha Tai, was educated to help the other villagers, and she was given with the stock of the compost supply, which she used to supply to the villagers, and therefore now the villagers are having great compost from their wet waste. A dry waste shed was also designed, and where the detailed segregation can be done, and this also was given with the villagers. After educating the villagers, it was seen that when the village got some funds for drainage gutters, they refused to have those gutters, and they invested their own money to dig the waste pits for wastewater pits for themselves, so that there will not be any open gutter in the village. This is a rainwater harvesting system, where the rooftop from the rooftop the water was collected, and then it was stored at the pre-filter tank, and after that pre-filter tank, the bore well was recharged, and then it goes to the percolation pit. The observation was, previous to this, the villagers used to face a lot of problem of water in the summer season. After having this borewell recharge, they could get water for all the 12 months. We will talk about water and wastewater systems in the coming sessions from Mr. Kulkarni. Then the existing components in the school. Here, boys and girls have the toilet blocks in the initial stage were very broken or of no use. Then with the participatory approach, these toilet blocks were developed by Shashwat for boys and girls, as well as for physically challenged. Separate toilets were built up. For community also, one toilet was developed. Water saving urinals were set in this school, and then it was connected to the decentralized ecological treatment system. Here, this DETS, with the help of this DETS at the wetland, fruit plants like banana or tomatoes are grown for the children, and therefore they can use this, and the thing is preserved. Plantation was done, and the plants were donated or adopted by the students. And it was seen that in the month of May, when the schools are closed, students used to go to the sarpanch, insist him that my plant should not get dry, and therefore they used to plant from the borewell water. Waste compost pit, which we have talked initially. We will discuss about this DETS system again with Mr. Khambati, who is one of the panelists. So this is how a need assessment is done, and it is implemented for the green village concept. Like this work can happen with almost all the villages of India, and there is a lot of scope for development in these villages. I would like Pradnya to run a video which will show us the actual Devghar case. Pradnya, over
Yeah.
to you.
Yes, you
Yes,
stop
1 second. I'll stop sharing the screen. Yes.
Can you see? Can you see the screen?
Yes.
And sound is clear?
No, you need to increase the sound. नो साऊंड करणे.
भरपूर अभ्यास करतो.
आता ऐकलं.
मला खूप आवडतं. आणि आता माझी शाळा तर पूर्वीपेक्षाही खूप छान झाली आहे. चला आमच्या शाळेतल्या नव्या नव्या गोष्टी तुम्हाला दाखवतो. एकदा काय झालं, एससीजी केअर फाउंडेशन आणि शाश्वत इको सोल्युशन्स चे ताई दादा आमच्या शाळेत आले. त्यांनी आम्हाला सांगितलं की आपल्याला हे गाव हरितग्राम करायचं आहे. आणि स्वच्छ सुंदर आणि हिरवंगार गाव. त्यासाठी ते आम्हाला मदत करणार. त्याची सुरुवात शाळेपासून करायची. हे बघा, आमच्या शाळेला लावलेला नवीन गेट आणि पावसाळ्यात चिखलापासून वाचण्यासाठी टाकलेल्या या नवीन फरशा. शाळेभोवती हे तारेचं कुंपणही त्यांनी लावून दिलं. त्यामुळे मैदानात खेळताना आम्हाला कुत्री आणि इतर गुरांचा अजिबात त्रास होत नाही. आणि आम्ही एवढंसं उत्तर द्यावं. हे बघा, आम्ही रांगाने झाड. काही दादांनी आम्हाला आंबा, चिंच, पेरू अशी फळझाडे, फळ, टेंभूळ अशी मयेदार वाटणारी आणि फुलझाडे लावली. ही झाडे तर खास विभागांना बोलवण्यासाठी. पावसाचा एकही थेंब वाया जाऊ देत नाही. हेच पाणी आम्ही आमच्या झाडांना आवाज नाही तर उन्हाळ्यात गावातली रोपही आम्ही साठवणाऱ्या पावसाचे पाणी आम्ही साठवणाऱ्या पावसाचं पाणी उन्हाळ्यामध्ये त्या गावाला पुरतो. काही झाडांनी आम्हाला स्वतःच्या आणि परिसराच्या तुमच्यासाठी खास नवीन प्रकारचे सौकल्य बनवून त्यामध्ये पाण्याचा ठिकाण वापर होतो. पण असंही अजिबात येत नाही. सौकल्यातल्या सगळ्या गोष्टी मी उंचीला लक्षात ठेवून बनवण्यात आल्या. आमच्या उंचीनुसार डोळ्यांना हातपोळ्याच्या आमच्या उंचीचा नसेल हे सापडले गेलं. मोठं शौचालय बनवलं. प्रत्येक शौचालयात स्वच्छतेसाठी एक कराडा आणि ब्रश आणि हे वेगळं शौचालय गावातल्या शाळेत अंगणात एक कार्यक्रम उपस्थित करताना वापरलं. आमच्या डब्यात उरलेलं अन्न, उरलेली खिचडी आम्ही यामध्ये टाकतो. त्याचं छान खत तयार करतो आणि आमच्या झाडांना खाऊ घालतो. हे खत आम्ही भविष्यात मिळालेली ही बक्षिसं ही म्हणतात.
Hello everybody. I understood there was some audio problem. Sorry for that. Let us move to next part of our session, that is panel discussion. Thank you, Aditi, for your wonderful presentation on need assessment. You must have noticed that she highlighted one need, that is drinking water. Currently, COVID-19 situation, villages are more prone to disease. Now in monsoon, contaminated water leads to various waterborne diseases. This highlights the importance of safe drinking water. Now let us start with our panel discussion. My humble request is for the participant to raise your question in the chat box with the name of personality to whom you want from whom you are expecting your answer. Just move to our first panelist, Mr. Vilas Kulkarni, who will be talking with us about safe drinking water. Mr. Vilas Kulkarni is one of the director of Shashwat Eco-Solution Foundation. He is a pioneer in providing specialized treatment for polluted water source so as to make it potable water source. He worked with companies like Statfield System and Equipment, Thermax Limited as an erection and commissioning engineer for almost 12 years. In addition to this, he has established 11 rainwater harvesting projects which are running successfully till date. Currently, he is providing these services for Baramati MIDC, for Ujni Dam, Hingne MIDC, for Ambazari Lake, Walunj MIDC, and Rahimatpur, to name a few. All of us know that safe drinking water is major challenge, especially in rural area. Sir, you have been expert in water filtration. I would like to know from you that what is a safe drinking water? Are there any standard which qualifies that water is safe for drinking? From where I will get information that this water is safe for drinking or not? Vilasji, can you start with your presentation? Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Is I audible to everybody?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Just good evening to everybody. Namaskar. And to start with, for a safe drinking water, everybody need a water. And if water is not safe, means it is not good condition or healthy, then we are facing many problems. And even we cannot live without water, but we cannot live without safe water also. So I'm just presenting, starting my presentation and covering most of the aspects which just told to you. I'm just sharing my screen. Just a minute. Okay, shall I now for safe drinking water, Shashwat did many things. Means since last 5-6 years, Shashwat along with many corporates uh, went to various villages and started their work from scratch, and they did a lot thing in this safe drinking water. I'm just going ahead with mentioning all these things. First thing is, what is safe drinking water? Well, everybody should know that healthy and potable water is known as a safe drinking water, but it is our fundamental right in India. All Indian citizens, the safe drinking water is a fundamental right, and also it is mentioned in United Nations Millennium Development Goal. That means MDG, very famous thing, and all over world they are promoting for a safe drinking water. It is a safe water, not necessarily ultra pure or pure, but it is only healthy and potable. So that changes as per geographical structure, as per water availability, also what water content. Water means everybody knows that H2O, but apart from that, there are many impurities, and we have to know that impurities, how to remove that impurities with different filtrations, and then we can go ahead with the uh, safeness of the water. In this case, I just want to tell you that some water contains salts, or like a magnesium, calcium, carbonates, bicarbonates, and other salts also present. And we have to remove if that salts are exceeding the limits, and limits are given as per our IS 10500. It is standard which given by Indian government. And if you go on BIS site, Bureau of Indian Standards site, then this 10500 you can easily download, and there are more than 54 parameters given. Both things, parameter, its acceptable limit and permissible limit. Now I want to explain you what is permissible limit. If suppose one parameter, if it is not available in the water, then whether we can drink that water. For example, heavy metals. If heavy metals are more than the limit, then whether that water is safe for drinking or not, that is given in that standard. So there are three different type of parameters given. One is physical parameter, chemical parameter, and biological parameters. इथे काही जर मराठी लोक असतील तर त्यांच्यासाठी मला एवढं सांगायचं आहे की आपल्याला हे तीन वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे पॅरामीटर्स BISच्या वेबसाईटवरनं डाउनलोड करता येतात. त्याच्यात पाण्याची टर्बिडिटी म्हणजे गढूळपणा किती आहे तो आपल्याला मोजता येतो, pH मोजता येते, त्याच्यातले विरघळलेले क्षार TDS टोटल डिझॉल्व्ह सॉलिड्स, नंतर हार्डनेस, पाण्यातले काही क्षार, हार्डनेस म्हणजे कॅल्शियम मॅग्नेशियम, ज्यांनी पाण्यात पेस येत नाही किंवा बऱ्याच वेळा पाणी जड पाणी आपण म्हणतो तर ते काय आहे, आणि वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे बॅक्टेरिया. कोलाय हा खूप कॉमन बॅक्टेरिया ज्याच्यामुळं बरेच आपल्याला पोटाचे विकार होतात. तर all these things are mentioned in IA standard 10500, and a revision, latest revision is made in 2012. So if you see turbidity, it is 1 NTU, but there is no relaxation. Means you have to remove all the suspended solids, make that water below 1 NTU turbidity, and then drink. आपल्याला गढूळपणा सगळा काढलाच पाहिजे त्या पाण्यातला. सेकंड थिंग, pH should not be below 6.5 or above 8.5. So that relaxation is not given. एखाद्या गावात समजा एखादा वॉटर सोर्स अवेलेबल नसेल, जो आहे त्याच्यात क्षाराचं प्रमाण आहे काही प्रमाणात, तर मग आपण वेगवेगळ्या लॅबोरेटरीज मध्ये ते चेक करून घेऊ शकतो. समजा डिझॉल्व सॉलिड हे 500 पर्यंत चालू शकतात नॉर्मल केसमध्ये, ते पाणी तसंही आपण पिऊ शकतो. पण 500 पेक्षा वरती असेल तर ते आपण पाणीच नाही असं होऊ शकणार नाही. त्यामुळं त्याच्यावरती थोडी ट्रीटमेंट करून 2000 पर्यंत मॅक्झिमम असेल तर ते पिण्यासाठी अलाउड आहे. 2000च्या वरती जर डिझॉल्व सॉलिड्स असतील तर ते पाणी प्यायचं नाही असं आहे स्टँडर्ड प्रमाणे सांगितलेलं आहे. आणि त्याच्यामुळे किडनी स्टोन किंवा इतर बरेच वेगळ्या गोष्टी होतात. त्या हार्मफुल काय काय आहेत हे पण या स्टँडर्ड मध्ये खूप चांगल्या प्रकारे मेन्शन केलेलं आहे. आता नाऊ आय वॉन्ट टू मेक one statement here, that whatever water you are going to use, you have to taste it first in laboratory, understand what parameters are there, whatever their acceptable limits, and if it is not acceptable, bring it up to acceptable limits and then use it. So त्यामुळे it is case specific thing. Means every water you cannot measure in one condition. But for Pune water, whatever water parameters are there that are not matching with Solapur water, that are not matching with any Kurduvadi or Kurkum even in that case, Barshi. So their TDS is varying, turbidity is different, hardness is different. So whatever safe drinking water is there, it should be what standards are saying. First thing is it should be safe, means it is potable water. All rural villages, they should give adequate water to everybody. What is means by adequate? Means 60 liters per day per person. एका माणसाला एका दिवसाला 60 लिटर पाणी हे सर्व गोष्टी करण्यासाठी, म्हणजे आपली आंघोळ, पिणे, त्यानंतर स्वयंपाक आणि कपडे धुणं किंवा इतर काही वापरणं असेल तर या सगळ्याला 60 लिटर एका दिवसाला पाणी हे लागणार आहे. आणि वी हॅव टू गिव्ह दॅट थिंग 60 liters per day per person. That is called as a adequate quantity. And adequacy of quality means as per IS standards that water should be healthy. So that is adequacy. Second thing, reliability means all services every day, if you are treating the water or supplying the water, that services should be proper. एक दिवस 10 लिटर आलंय, आठवडाभर 10 लिटर आलंय आणि नंतर एकदम तुम्हाला 200 लिटर दिलं तर यू कॅनॉट स्टोअर दॅट मच. तर त्याला रिलायबिलिटी ऑफ सर्व्हिसेस, एव्हरीबडी शुड गेट युनिफॉर्म वॉटर एव्हरी डे अँड दॅट टू युनिफॉर्म क्वालिटी. असा सेकंड थिंग आहे. ऍक्सेप्टेबिलिटी means taste, odor, color, and these are physical standards. But all standards which mention, all parameters which mentioned in standard, that should be acceptable limits. And accessibility. बऱ्याच गावात असं होतं की लांबवर 4 घरं असतात आणि त्यांना पाणी मिळत नाही, किंवा सगळीकडे विखुरलेले वस्ती असते, अशा वेळी पाणी मिळत नाही. तर ऍक्सेसिबिलिटी म्हणजे त्या डिस्टन्स वाईज कशा प्रकारे ते पाणी सगळ्यांना पोहोचवता येईल हे पण त्याच्यात महत्वाचं आहे. व्हॉट वी आर डुईंग, वी आर डुईंग अ स्टडी ऑफ एंटायर विलेज अँड देन ऑर दॅट टाउनशिप, अँड अकॉर्डिंगली हाऊ एव्हरीबडी कॅन गेट दिस water, treated water in an adequate quantity, quality, and reliable services, that we are deciding, and accordingly we are planning with that villagers. So that is the main important thing. what I told before, that every water, every village or township or even city having different water qualities. So if you see, I'm just explaining you few things. आपण बोरवेलचं पाणी जे बघतो त्याच्यात काही वेळा हार्डनेस किंवा TDS जास्त असतो. आपण जर तेच आपल्या साध्या विहिरींचं बघितलं तर तिथे हा TDS त्यापेक्षा कमी असतो. पण रिव्हर वॉटर म्हणजे नदीच्या पाण्यात हे एक TDS हा खूप कमी असतो, कारण हे सरफेस वॉटर असतं. रेन वॉटर वाहत येतं. काही वेळा डॅमचं पाणी आहे. आपल्या पुणे सिटीला वी आर गेटिंग डॅम वॉटर, सो TDS इज लो अँड इट इज ऑलवेज इन ऍक्सेप्टेबल लिमिट्स. सो treatment for TDS is not required. Like that, if you go for sea water, ज्यांना इलाजच नाही अशा ठिकाणी समुद्राचं पाणी वापरलं जातं, तिथे TDS काढणं हे अत्यावश्यक आहे. विदाउट दॅट यू कॅनॉट ड्रिंक दॅट वॉटर. आणि म्युन्सिपल वॉटर सप्लाय जिथे जिथे होतो अशा ठिकाणी बहुतेक वेळा हे स्टँडर्ड नॉर्म्स मध्ये आणूनच ते पाणी दिलं जातं. अशा प्रकारे सोर्स जिथला असेल त्याच्याप्रमाणे पाणी आपल्याला ट्रीट करून वापरायचं असतं. डिफरंट सोर्सेस ऑफ डिफरंट कॅरेक्टरिस्टिक्स. मी हे पुढच्या स्लाइड मध्ये तुम्हाला ते समजावून सांगणार आहे. आणि आयनिक इम्प्युरिटीज व्हेरी फ्रॉम सोर्स टू सोर्स. आता आपल्याकडे बोरवेल असतं ते आणि ओपन वेल किंवा नदीचं पाणी, ह्या तीन ह्याच्यातले जे डिझॉल्व सॉलिड्स असतात ते फारच वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे असतात. त्यामुळं सोल्युबल, नॉन सोल्युबल आणि ऑर्गॅनिक मॅटर या तीन ह्याच्या इम्प्युरिटीज आहेत दॅट वी हॅव टू कन्सिडर while doing any water filtration or water supply system. And second thing, आता ह्या चार्ट मध्ये if you see in this chart, there is a source, deep well, म्हणजे आपल्या विहिरी. In this case dissolved impurities are high, suspended impurities म्हणजे गढूळपणा जो असतो that is less, आणि organic impurities are also less. Shallow wells is moderate, low, and again organic impurities are moderate. But if you see river, नदीच्या पाण्यात डिझॉल्व सॉलिड्स नसतात, क्षारांचं प्रमाण खूप कमी असतं. पण पावसाळ्यात तुम्ही जर बघाल तर गढूळपणा खूप असतो. सस्पेंडेड इम्प्युरिटीज इन रेनी सीझन इज व्हेरी हाय इन रिव्हर वॉटर. आता आपण सगळ्यांनी त्याचा अनुभव घेतलेलाच आहे. ऑर्गॅनिक इम्प्युरिटीज आर ऑल्सो मॉडरेट. पण लेक वॉटर मध्ये बघितलं तर dissolved solids पण असतात, because it is stored water. Dissolved impurities are also there, suspended impurities are also there, and organic impurities are very high, कारण तो गाळ साठलेला असतो त्याच्यामुळे ऑर्गॅनिक मॅटर जास्त ह्याच्यात येतं. आता आपण समुद्राचं पाणी घेतलं तर खारट पाणी असतं. इट इज सॉल्टी वॉटर, मीन्स व्हेरी हाय डिझॉल्व सॉलिड्स, मॉडरेट सस्पेंडेड इम्प्युरिटीज अँड मॉडरेट ऑर्गॅनिक मॅटर. अशा प्रकारे आपल्याला जर हा वॉटर अप्रायझल आपण केलं तर देन वी कॅन कम टू नो विच सिस्टीम टू बी यूज. आता जिथे सस्पेंडेड सॉलिड जास्त आहे देर यू कॅन यूज सेटलर्स, आणि त्याचबरोबर ऑर्गॅनिक इम्प्युरिटीज आहेत देर यू कॅन यूज क्लोरीन और अदर डिसइन्फेक्टंट्स. सो वी विल सी अ फिल्ट्रेशन सिस्टम आफ्टर दिस फॉर विच वॉटर वी कॅन डू. We can select which type of equipment. Here first thing is tube settler or clarifiers. बऱ्याच ठिकाणी गावात सेटलिंग टँक दिलेले असतात. जर if you are going to use river water, then tube settlers or clarifiers are used, which is basically removing suspended solids, turbidity, colloidal silica. Here आता आपण गढूळ पाणी जर फक्त आपल्याला नीट करायचं असेल तर अशा वेळी वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे सेटलर्स आणि क्लॅरिफायर्स वापरले जातात. सँड फिल्टर्स जे आहेत तेही अजून फाईन फिल्ट्रेशनसाठी, म्हणजे एकदा क्लॅरिफिकेशन झाल्यानंतरचं जे फाईन फिल्ट्रेशन आहे ते यांनी केलं जातं. फॉर एक्झाम्पल, इफ यू बाय ट्यूब सेटलर और क्लॅरिफायर यू कॅन रिड्यूस टर्बिडिटी अप टू 10 to 15 NTU, and below that we have to match 1 NTU turbidity. So for that sand filters are required. Then sand filters, after that there is a activated carbon filter which removes organic impurities, odor and color which exist in water. काही पाण्याला कलर असतो, काही कुजल्याचा इथे वास असतो. बऱ्याच वेळा तळ्यातल्या पाण्यानं येतो तर त्यावेळी ऍक्टिव्हेटेड कार्बन सजेस्ट केलेला असतो. सॉफ्टनर्स आपल्याकडे जड पाणी जे म्हणतो किंवा हार्ड वॉटर, फॉर दॅट total to remove total hardness and washing and cleaning purpose, softeners are used. Softeners are not used in drinking water as on date. They are used only for initial pre-treatments of the water. Then comes RO plant, reverse osmosis plants. Here their special membranes are there. These RO plants are very good to remove hardness, total dissolved solids like calcium, magnesium, silica, iron, क्लोराईड, सल्फेट्स. आरो प्लांटचं मी सांगतो, आता सगळीकडे आरो प्लांट खूप मोठ्या प्रमाणात वापरले जातात, पण जर हार्डनेस तेवढा आणि किंवा डिझॉल्व सॉलिड्स तेवढे असतील 500च्या वरती तर आपल्याला आरो प्लांट वापरणं हे चांगलं आहे. इतर ठिकाणी आरो प्लांट वापरण्याची गरज नसते, अशा बऱ्याच वेळा आरो प्लांट वापरले जातात आणि अननेसेसरी खर्च पण वाढतो आणि आरो प्लांटमुळे इतर प्रॉब्लेम्स आपल्याला येतात. आणि सगळ्यात शेवटी जे last point is disinfection. It is done mostly by chlorine. Chlorine is a very cheaper chemical. It is byproduct actually. It is banned outside because it is carcinogenic. There are ill effect of chlorine, but then also as economic chemical, we all are using that. Still we are using in India. So UV and ozone are also alternatives are there. Now chlorine dioxide and some other disinfectants are also available in market. Mainly it is used for BOD, COD removal and disinfection. It kills all bacteria, viruses in water and makes water pure. आता तुम्ही जे बघताय, now what you are seeing is water filters. There are pressure water filters, and if you see there are two different filters are there. One first vessel is sand filter, pressure sand filter. Another is activated carbon filter. So it is in series. First, whatever turbidity present in water, or suspended solids, that is getting removed with pressure sand filter, and other filter, activated carbon filter, that removes odor, then it removes organic matter contamination also from water, and if color exists that also get removed. And after that we are doing a chlorination or disinfection, and then that water is given supplied for drinking purpose. The small skid mounted plants are also available which can be used in for low population areas. तुम्ही जर शहरात बघितलं तर शहरात मोठमोठ्या ठिकाणी असे ग्रॅव्हिटी फिल्टर्स केलेले असतात. प्रेशर सँड फिल्टर, they need every time they need electricity or pumping and their backwash and everything. But by gravity also we can do this filtration. Sand filter beds are present. From top side they are passing the water, and from bottom they are collecting you can say clean water. So here also if you see this total water filtration without energy, electricity can be done, but for this capital expenses are very high. So for small villages we prefer pressure sand filter. हे टिपिकल आरो फिल्टरचं मॉडेल आहे. ग्रामीण भागात ज्यांना आरो प्लांट बसवायचे जिथं TDS जास्त आहे, तर अशा ठिकाणी हे असे छोटे किंवा मोठे डिपेंडिंग ऑन rural population we can give small or containerized big plants also. So these plants they have to maintain properly. High pressure pumping is there, so electrical consumption is also there, but automatic or semi automatic plants are available in the market. If you see this mobile van which can deliver this safe water, RO plants or even filtration plants, it can be put on a vehicle and it can deliver it to different areas, localities. ह्याच्यात एका ठिकाणी जर समजा पॉप्युलेशन असेल, डिवायडेड सगळी लोकसंख्या असेल वेगवेगळ्या वाड्या वस्त्यांमध्ये, तर तिथं घेऊन जाण्यासाठी एक जलदूत नावाची चांगली योजना आपल्या इकडे सेवावर्धिनी आणि बऱ्याच जणांनी ते इनिशिएटिव्ह घेतलेलं आहे. तर या योजनेमार्फत तुम्हाला ज्या प्रकारचं फिल्ट्रेशन लागतंय तो प्लांट त्या व्हेकलच्या पाठीमागच्या बाजूला लोड केलेला असतो. त्याला बॅटरी ऑपरेटेड पण असतात किंवा डिझेल जनरेटर असतो आणि तिथलंच पाणी लोकल पाणी घेऊन ते ट्रीट करून त्याच लोकांना परत सप्लाय केलं जातं आणि दे आर चार्जिंग. ते काही थोडे पैसे त्याच्यात चार्ज केलेले असतात, 5 रुपयाला 20 लिटर अशा प्रकारे. पण लोकांचा हेल्थचा विचार करून त्यांनी केलेलं असतं. जलदूत व्हॉट दे आर सेईंग, जलदूत वॉटर कंडिशनर, म्हणजे जिथं जे पाहिजे तेवढ्या सिलेक्टिव्ह सेपरेशन करून पिण्यायोग्य पाणी करून जलदूत हे सगळ्यांना देत असतं. त्यामुळे जलयुत हा खूप मोठ्या प्रमाणात आता प्रचार केला पाहिजे असा एक विषय आहे. Second thing, cost factors. Once you established your water treatment system or plant, after that also there are many hidden costs are involved. Everybody has to consider this. ग्रामीण भागात ज्यावेळी आपण एखाद्या पाण्याचं नियोजन करतो त्यावेळी नुसता प्लांट घेऊन तो इन्स्टॉल केला म्हणजे झाला असं नाही. त्याच्या पाठीमागे बरेच वेगवेगळे फॅक्टर्स आहेत. पहिली गोष्ट म्हणजे कॅपिटल कॉस्ट काही गव्हर्नमेंट योजनांकडनं मिळतात किंवा त्याचा सगळे लोक खर्च करतात, कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन करतात, कोणी स्पॉन्सर मिळतो, CSR फंड्स पण मिळतात. पण त्याचं ऑपरेशन मेंटेनन्स, त्याला माणसं लागतात ऑपरेट करायला, त्याचा पगार आहे, त्यानंतर मेंटेन ते केमिकल्स लागतात, वेगवेगळी कन्झ्युमेबल्स लागतात, ते झाल्यानंतर त्याची इलेक्ट्रिसिटी. आणि जर वॉटर तुम्ही इरिगेशन कडनं किंवा दुसऱ्या का गव्हर्नमेंटच्या एजन्सीकडनं घेत असाल किंवा प्रायव्हेट विहिरीकडनं घेत असाल तर वॉटर बिल हे पण मोठ्या प्रमाणात येतात. सेकंड थिंग, फिल्टर्स असतात त्याचे मीडिया, आरओ प्लांट असतात त्याचे मेम्ब्रेन्स आणि हाय प्रेशर पंपाचे स्पेअर्स हे सगळे बदलावे लागतात. काही वॉल्स तुटतात, काही वेळा पाईपलाईन लिकेजेस होतात, काही वेळा मोठे ब्रेकडाऊन्स येतात. तर ह्याच्या सगळ्याच्या कॉस्टला वी शुड प्रिपेअर फॉर दिस कॉस्ट. हे फार महत्वाचं आहे. नाही तर बऱ्याच ठिकाणी ग्रामीण भागात ते प्लांट तसेच बंद पडलेले असतात. तर ह्याचा कन्सिडरेशन हे प्रत्येक जणांनी आपण आधी केलं पाहिजे, तरच तो प्लांट चालू करावा आणि ह्याची तरतूद केल्याशिवाय पुढे जाऊ नये. आता ह्याच्यातलं एक मगाशी एक प्रश्न होता की वॉटर बॉर्न डिसीजेस, ह्याच्यात मेंटेनन्स कॉस्ट वर्सेस हेल्थ कॉस्ट, हे मला सगळ्यांनाच सांगायची इच्छा आहे की पहिली गोष्ट म्हणजे ह्याच्यात जे मेंटेनन्स कॉस्ट आहे ती त्याच्यापेक्षाही हेल्थ कॉस्ट ही जास्त आहे. आपण जर आजारी पडलो तर काय होतं आपण तो विचार करत नाही. आणि कुठले होतात वॉटर बॉर्न डिसीजेस, यातले काही डिसीजेस दिलेत, कॉलरा आहे, डायरिया आहे, मलेरिया, टायफॉइड, ह्या प्रकारचे बरेचसे डिसीजेस हे वॉटर बॉर्न डिसीजेस मध्ये येतात. ह्याच्यात मुख्यतः डॉक्टरचं बिल हे तर आपण पे करतो त्यामुळे आपल्याला माहिती आहे. दुसरी गोष्ट, त्या दुखण्यामुळं कधी कधी 2 दिवस 4 दिवस 1 महिना 2 महिने जातात. तर तो वेळ आणि त्या वेळातला आपला इफेक्टिव्हनेस, त्याच्यातलं येणारं आपलं इन्कम हा लॉस असतो. त्याबरोबर इतरांना होणारा त्रास आपल्यामुळं, आणि ती साथ जर पसरली तर त्याच्यामुळं झालेलं सगळ्यांचं डेली रुटीन जे आहे दॅट गेट अफेक्टेड. आणि हा स्प्रेड सोसायटीत झाला की पूर्ण सोसायटीचंही नुकसान होतं, बिझनेसेस त्यामुळे अफेक्ट होतात. अशा बऱ्याच वेगवेगळे प्रकार या वॉटर बॉर्न डिसीजेस होतात. सो दिस हेल्थ कॉस्ट इज major which is direct and indirect impacting on our day-to-day life. So maintenance cost is less, and that maintenance cost if you pay, then you need not have to worry about your health. Everybody has to note this point and act accordingly. Second thing is wastage, वॉटर वेस्टेज. आता ह्या फिल्ट्रेशन बसवताना किंवा आरो बसवताना वॉटर वेस्ट जातं. तर ह्याच्यातलं मला 2 गोष्टी तुम्हाला सुचवायच्यात. एक म्हणजे फिल्टर बॅकवॉश. फिल्टर बॅकवॉशला सँड फिल्टर, कार्बन फिल्टरला 2 to 3% वॉटर हे बॅकवॉश मध्ये जातं. पण ते पाणी यू जस्ट सेटल इट डाऊन अँड गिव्ह इट टू गार्डन ऑर ऍग्रिकल्चर त्यावर क्लिनिंग वॉशिंग. सेकंड थिंग, आरो रिजेक्ट हे 20 to 30% आरो रिजेक्ट असतात. तर ह्याला असं करायचं की आरो रिजेक्टचा पण TDS मेजर करायचा. यू मेजर TDS ऑफ आरो रिजेक्ट. इफ इट इज बिलो 2100 देन गिव्ह इट फॉर गार्डनिंग और एग्रीकल्चर पर्पज अँड इट इज अलाउड. बट इफ इट इज अबव दॅट देन यू हॅव टू टेक advice from consultants how to use it. Last point I want to mention, that is rainwater harvesting. Everybody is knowing about this, everybody is doing rainwater harvesting, and through corporates are also there. There are many big initiatives for rainwater harvesting, but a scientific rain harvesting will give you good output. Otherwise, it's just for social cause they are doing, just for photos. Here, I'm telling you one type of rainwater harvesting. There are 3-4 types of different rainwater harvesting. One rooftop water that you have to collect, then filter it properly with the filter media, and then you have to charge the borewell, and after that you will get a direct water, good water from this borewell. Output will get increased. And scientific, if you are not taking roof water and you are taking all surface water, means from road or other areas also, then you have to make your proper filtration and then do the this rainwater harvesting. So take care. After that, you will get good output and a positive effects from this rainwater harvesting. Okay. So, yeah.
Vilasji, nice presentation. Thank you for your inputs. I just want to ask one question. Just now you explained, तुम्ही आता रेन वॉटर बद्दल सांगितलं आम्हाला. तर हे रेन वॉटर पिण्यासाठी किती सेफ आहे? जे समजा मी माझ्या घरामध्ये पाणी गोळा केलं आणि ते काय उकळून प्यायले, तर हाऊ काय म्हणजे कशा रीतीने आपण ते समजावं रेन वॉटर हार्वेस्टिंग?
ह्या ह्याच्यात पहिली गोष्ट म्हणजे रूफटॉपचं रेन वॉटर हार्वेस्टिंग आपण केलेलं असेल तर आपलं गच्ची ही 2-3 वेळा पहिल्या पावसांमध्ये धुवून साफ करून ठेवली पाहिजे. आणि त्याच्यानंतर ते पाणी जर कलेक्ट केलं, त्याचा रेन वॉटर हार्वेस्टिंग साठी वापर केला, तर त्याला फक्त डिसइन्फेक्ट करायचंय. आणि ते समजा गढूळ असेल तर फिल्ट्रेशन करून डिसइन्फेक्ट करणं आणि नंतर ते वापरणं. इट इज व्हेरी गुड, कारण त्याच्या वरतून जे पावसाचं पाणी आहे त्याचा TDS नसतो, अगदी खूप कमी असतो आणि ते आपल्याला सहजपणे पिण्यासाठी वापरता येतं.
Okay. Thank you, Vilasji, for providing us guidance on safe drinking water. I think you have rightly mentioned about clean and healthy water for the livelihood. So let us continue with the next personality, Mr. Nayan Khambati, sir. He is one of the advisory board member of Shashwat. He is chartered civil and environmental engineer having 40 years of experience in the water and wastewater sector. He worked with many esteemed private, public, government agencies, including international funding agencies like World Bank and the USAID. His credentials includes Nation Expert for World Bank Finance, National Ganga River Basin Authority for improvement to sewage treatment plant along the river in 2010. Senior expert with Morse McDonald RV Anderson, PhD consultant on MSDP second priority works being implemented by MCBM under JNNURM scheme 2007-8. Worked on the behalf of Indian Water Works Association on the project EcoSan capacity building funded by the European Commission under Asia Pro Eco program aimed at generating local expertise and knowledge in ecological sanitation in 2007. Sir, we want to know more about sanitation and wastewater from the point of view of rural area. Will you please give your guidance on that? Nayan, sir, Nayanji.
Good evening, everyone. You can hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me and see me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good evening to everyone, all the participants. Thank you, Nivedita, for your very kind introduction. And after a very detailed and very enlightening presentation by Kulkarni Sahib, you will all find my presentation to be very, very simple. Okay, so I am doing this presentation from my cell phone, so I would request Pradnya to please help me with the presentation. I can't do the presentation from the cell phone.
Yes,
Pradnya,
sure.
could you please
Sure.
share the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Pradnya. The topic given to me is rural sanitation. Rural sanitation in simple terms means Gramin area is rural. Sanitation is Swachhata. Okay, so in simple terms, we are going to talk about Gramin Swachhata. Next slide, please, Pradnya. Yeah, Swachhata is basically dignity. We are talking about human dignity. Mahatma Gandhi also had said that sanitation is more important than independence, because he believed that actually cleanliness is next to godliness. So sanitation is basically human dignity. Hmm? We are going to share this presentation as already told to everyone. So I will only go through the highlights. There are a lot of written matters, but actually it tells you about what are the repercussions, social and economic repercussions and environmental repercussions due to sanitation. So the first thing we are talking about dignity, we are talking about child life, that normally small children are susceptible to enteral via intestinal diseases, and a lot of child infanticide mortality takes place because of polluted drinking water. Once I think we have an improved sanitation, we have more dignified lifestyle. Like the second last one, urinating and defecating are basic human needs like eating, drinking, sleeping, breathing. And every human being should be able to fulfill those basic needs with dignity. And once you have proper sanitation, then it protects you everyone in the community. It is time we recognize that sanitation of human aspect and consistently will make a difference if there is proper sanitation. Next one, Prajna, please. As Vilasji has already said, that basically bad sanitation, basically diseases like cholera, typhoid, these are all basically intestinal diseases. And these are caused by polluted water. The water becomes polluted because a person having these diseases, this bacteria, disease causing bacteria are basically spread through the fecal matter of the infected person. So if proper sanitation is not there, this type of diseases are likely to spread. And then Vilasji also very nicely said that if you are basically falling sick and having these diseases, it is not only that your personal health is affecting, but the health of the family, the income of the family, the social status, the productivity, and eventually it goes and affects the economy of your nation also. So proper sanitation is the basic thing, and being a preventive medicine, it should be adopted so that people fall less sick. Next one, please. Basically, you must have all heard that before this Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and all was done, most of the villages, they were doing defecation in the open fields. Ladies used to go before it became, daylight, and used to go, and then during the day, they used to suppress their urge for urination or toilet and all that. All this basically causes diseases. So basically sanitation, if proper sanitation is does, it gives respect to our ladies, it gives them the privacy, it gives them the time to go whenever there is an urge to do anything, and basically it improves their health. So if you have clean toilets, basically this need is thing. And then you must have also heard about, in early times, that there is a big dropout in the girls during the menstruation period, because there are no proper facilities at the school for taking care of that. Now I think all those things are slowly happening, and therefore it affects the education. So finally, I think sanitation basically affects the education, gender equality, and dignity. Next one, please. Same thing, it goes through the poverty part of it also, and eventually fosters economic growth. Because if people fall less sick, then obviously they are going to do more productive work. The other thing is that basically don't look upon this sanitation and sewage as a waste. It is basically a resource. If you use it as a resource, the fecal matter, the urine, and the grey water, if it is used as a resource, it actually reduces the poverty and triggers economical growth. So that is what sanitation does. Next one, please. Basically, sanitation is there to sustain the human settlement, because people should not fall sick. They should live in clean environment. And also nowadays, we understand that we are all falling short of natural resources. So we should be using these natural products that come out of sewage and sanitation. They should be used as biogas. They should be used as manure. They should be used for agricultural purposes. Even the sewage should be used for agricultural purposes, creating that much less pressure on fertilizers, water, and other things. Therefore, that is the importance of sanitation, especially in rural areas. Okay, with this introduction, we'll go to a specific thing. So coming back to the rural sanitation in basically in a small village. The village could be anything. It could be 5 houses to 50 houses to 500 houses. So it would depend upon the type of the village. But basically, whatever water that is supplied by Kulkarni Sahib, all the pure water and the quantity that he mentioned, is going to be used in our houses. It is going to be used in the kitchen. It is going to be used in the toilets. It is going to be used for washings, and it's going to be used in the bathrooms. So basically, water is going to be used, and water is going to get converted. Almost 90% of the water used in the house is going to get converted into sewage. Now, whatever water that comes out, basically from the toilets, is called as black water, and whatever water that comes out, the wastewater that coming out of kitchens, and basically called gray water. Okay, so that is the, you will hear this terminology at number of places, that there is a black water and there is a gray water. And obviously we talked about the next one, that the infected domestic sewage causes intestinal diseases, and therefore you have to preserve your, not only your personal hygiene, which is by washing your hands and all that, your homes and your toilets and all that remaining clean, but even the environment around the village, like the ponds, like the flowing rivers, like the nalas, like the lakes, all those also have to be kept in proper hygiene. Then only it is a complete rural sanitation scheme. Okay, next one, please. Um,
For some reason, maybe Kambati sir voice is not clear. Let team communicate to them. But meanwhile, I will just take a round at rural sanitation components that house cattle sheds, school and Anganwadi, health centers, Gram Panchayat office, collection treatment, self-disposal, pit latrines, sewer lines. Treatment of sewage for organic matter is most important, and the parameters are suspended solids, pathogens, reuse of treated sewage, compost, and gobar gas are assets. So basically, these are the components under rural sanitation. So it is not only the toilet block. Generally, it is said that sanitation is toilet, but it is not only the toilet block. It is taking care of sanitation of the cattle's animals in the village, and also including school and post treatment of the toilet. Um, Apart from toilet, it is a post treatment aspect as well. Is anybody checked that anything wrong with Mr. Khambati, or should I continue that?
I think you should continue.
You should continue. He is not picking up.
Continue.
Okay, okay. Case studies, DVAT treatment at Nikose village at Volkswagen also. Like Aditi has explained that there is basically DVAT model which was in village Devghar, but a similar case study is replicated in other villages in Pune district by Shashwat. So this is basically a treatment system which is robust. Means there are a lot of challenges in rural area for wastewater treatment system. The one challenge is basically that there is no electricity. So if we go for the conventional treatment system, then it become really challenging to have to run that. Then change operation and maintenance cost increase, and there are a lot of basically no power supply. So for aeration, continuous running of aerator is required. So basically low maintenance, energy effective, and with gravity flow treatment system is required, and ecological Basically, the treatment system which you have seen at Devgar model during Aditi's presentation is the similar. It is a technological diagram for this deep centralized system where there is a settler, a flow filter, baffle reactor. So this is, and the BOD reduction is happened. This is anaerobic process. So there may be odor after this treatment system. So to remove that odor, basically wetland is required. So it is a constructed wetland with this basically the plantation. It's a root zone treatment system. So with oxygen supply circulation, the odor removes, and it is further polishing of the wastewater treatment system, so that when it comes out, the BOD is within the limit and it can be used for irrigation, so agriculture aspects, gardening aspect. And if it has to use for flushing, then as Vilas Kulkarni in his presentation has explained that water standards, so the purpose of use of wastewater, they depend on further treatment after this for this entire treatment system. So this is one of the example of wetland which we have already seen there, and this is another, the green water approach. So it is a basically robust treatment system. This is same Devgar model which all of you have seen. In this is basically the first chamber is the settler tank, then a flow filter. There is a filter media inside. So after settling the media, if there is a large volume treatment system, this is basically for school. But if that treatment system has to work for a village also, and after that the village wastewater can be used for agriculture to the nearby farmer. So the reuse, it is a nutrient rich water because there is no chemical addition, nothing, only gobar. Initial level has to be added. Then the fecal matter deposited into it act as a culture. So that helps to decomposition of the wastewater system. So this is basically all of you have seen that water saving urinal is also one of the aspect here. See, the one major aspect which we have seen, that the proper ventilation in the toilet block, all the components has been there. The components has been designed in the level of the student. If it is a primary school, because if urinal, the size of pan is important, the size of sink is important, the size of basin and the height and level is important, so to avoid the spitting over outside and to give the odor, that so it becomes then a healthy toilet block. So basically I'm sorry, but so due to some technical problem, Mr. Khambati cannot continue. But Mr. Khambati was the project part of World Bank and ILFS in basically Punjab and Gujarat. So he was having some experience of that, which I cannot share, but maybe we can have some questions and we will get his feedback on this and share with you. Hope to join him in the question answer session. So suggestions for ensuring success of rural sanitation project is need based on awareness and information, which is very much important. See, we cannot impose the need on the villagers. Basically, it should not that we give something to them, though it is funded by somebody. So it should be a need-based structure, which Aditi has explained in her presentation. And basically, not only physical component, it has to go hand to hand with IC. So that is basically the requirement, because if people see, most of the technology failed not because it is not technology is bad, it is basically not used and not understood by the people or community that it is for their betterment. So technology and IC has to go hand to hand to understand the requirement and need. So it should be a simple, robust, efficient treatment and with reuse approach. So low or no power is required for, and no moving parts, so that lot of operation maintenance, involvement of labor is required. like the DETS system which we have shown is basically can be managed more or less with the gardener. Provision for operation and maintenance period by Gram Panchayat. So that is through Shashwat, what generally we do that we provide them the O&M manual and did the capacity building of them. So should generate some employment and revenue for operating this such kind of system. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Pradnya, for taking over and continue with the presentation. Let us hope he will join again. Okay, so let us move to the next part of the thing. The importance of rural development is get highlighted on the background of COVID-19 pandemic, as we have observed diverse migration of labor during this period. This posed challenge on the village, especially related to health and hygiene. Our next panelist is witness for all this. Let us understand from him health challenge in the rural
Nivedita,
area.
just to interrupt a little bit, just a minute. Mr. Khambati is there. If he has to speak anything about this Punjab case study, he can briefly say about that, and then maybe we can shift to next session. Yeah, please.
Khambati sir, hello. Khambati sir.
Yes, I'm here. You can hear me.
Yeah, sir, can you share your experience about the project, especially which components are considered when about village development when you are a part of such big projects?
Yeah, whether it is Punjab or any village in India, I think the issues by and large remain same. And my last slide that Pradnya was just presenting when I again rejoined in, I think if those issues are taken care of, there are very good chances of a success for rural sanitation. If those issues are missed out, like if it is not a very inclusive process, if the IEC is not properly done, if the ownership spirit is not there, whatever constructed has to be very simple. It should not require much of energy, should be easy on maintenance, and later on proper operation and maintenance also should be done. So all the reuse of water has to be done, and also I think it should generate some revenue and some employment so that the villagers always remain involved even for the lifetime of that particular project. So if all these issues are taken care of, then I think the project is likely to succeed. If not, then whether it is Punjab or anywhere, it is likely to fail. Thank you.
Would you like to add something, sir? तुम्हाला काय add करायचं अजून?
No, that's it. That's it.
That's okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So let us move to our next panelist, Mr. Udayan Bhatt. Hello, Mr. Udayan Bhatt, a well-known personality in media and entertainment. He is a media and entertainment executive with over 15 years of experience in film and TV production. He has been Chief Operating Officer for the Anil Kapoor's film company for over a decade and has produced successfully films like Khoobsurat, Birde Wedding, as well as high-quality TV programs such as 24 starring Anil Kapoor and Selection Day for Netflix. Since last 14 years, he is a board of director of Prasad Chikitsa. Prasad Chikitsa, a registered charitable trust that works with predominantly tribal population that resides in Tamsa Valley near Ganeshpuri, Maharashtra. Prasad Chikitsa focuses on holistic approach in rural development with wide variety of programs which includes community health initiative, an HIV clinic, an eye hospital, a mobile medical van, etc. The community development programs of Prasad Chikitsa cater in the creation and nurturing of women's self-help groups, support to local farmers in the form of seed banking and growing second crop in the non-paddy season. Now, I think Mr. Udayan Bhatt will be talking on health challenges in rural area. May I request Aditi to start discussion with Udayan sir?
Yes, thank you, Nivedita. Welcome, Udayanji, for this session. Thanks for sparing time for this webinar. Actually, we have seen Prasad Chikitsa's work in Ganeshpuri, and therefore we thought that whenever we are talking about rural development, we must have with you with us. We would like to know from you to describe us about the medical facilities Prasad Chikitsa is providing in the rural or tribal areas near about Ganeshpuri. Yes, sir.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Firstly, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Great. Firstly, I'd like to thank both Vilasji and Nayanji for such a fantastic presentation. I learned some new things today. So I'm really thankful for the opportunity to attend the session. So very quickly coming to Prasad Chikitsa and the work we do in our catchment area, which is around the village of Ganeshpuri in Thane district. Our medical programs or sort of the rural medical health initiatives have been active since 1978 when we established our first mobile hospital there. And over a span of now 30 plus years, that program has taken the form of a well integrated, holistic medical program that covers pretty much every aspect of community health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you explain, all these rural people cannot afford medical services. How have you subsidized these services for them? So,
Yeah, so I think, firstly, before even affording medical health, our observation has been that, typically there is a lot of taboo or preconceived notions associated with even approaching a health facility,
right.
at least in rural parts. So I think before breaking the barrier of money, we had to break the barrier of trust, or, at least build a relationship of trust and break that inherent, because even in urban parts, now certain things we know we have to go to the doctor. You have a fever, you have an upset stomach, we don't think twice before quickly going to our doctor and taking some medication for it.
yeah.
But in rural parts, we have to, first build that relationship of trust. And I think that has been an important milestone and breakthrough for us, because we have been offering these services to the tribal population for so many years that they have seen the benefits of it. And as a result of which, they come to us very freely and approach us with any symptom that they may have. Or even sometimes we have noticed that the person themselves, sometimes there is just fear. You feel afraid of going to the doctor. You don't want to accept that something is wrong with me. But the other members in the community now encourage that person to say that, look, this appears to be something odd. You should go see the doctor at Prasad Chikitsa. They will be able to guide you. So I think that has been the first big sort of bridge that we have built, which is the bridge of trust. And then coming to the second step, which is of the monetary aspect of it. Firstly, we don't give any free treatment. And that has been our policy from day one. And it is something that we have, again, helped everyone understand that you value something only when there is some sort of a monetary exchange. So even if it is a notional amount or a token amount, we always ensure that there is some charge associated or linked to the service offered. And it has been our observation consistently that anytime the patient actually pays money, they will make sure that they take the treatment. They will eat all the tablets that the doctor has given. They will come back for a follow-up. Otherwise, फ्री में मिला है तो उतना उसका
वैल्यू नहीं रहता है. Yeah, right. We have seen that you have lot many self-help women self-help groups.
Yes.
Do you feel that they also help you to bring the patients from their villages to Prasad Chikitsa Clinic?
Yeah, so Prasad started the women's self-help group program in 2003, and over time we have over 200 self-help groups, and if you average about 15 members per group, so that's like a strength of 3,000 women in the community.
Great.
And it goes without saying, but that really is the hidden force that helps us with our programs, because through the self-help groups, of course, we have built a different kind of relationship with these women, where they have learned the power of saving, the power of being economically independent. But as a result of which, they are also our pulse in the community. They are able to give us a strong sense of what is happening. Especially, right now, even with COVID, it was very easy for us during lockdown to just make phone calls to understand what was happening in different villages, because our catchment area is spread over about 20 plus square kilometers. So it is not practical to go there, particularly during the lockdown restrictions. So being able to communicate with them on the phone was of great benefit. And even before lockdown, when it came to community health, our approach has always been preventive and sort of getting to the root cause of things, from a medical standpoint. So we have done many awareness camps and awareness programs working with the women's self-help group. So that has really, helped them also understand ki moti bindu kaya asto, what is cataract, what is the most obvious symptom of cataract, or even with tuberculosis, if they notice somebody in the village with a persistent cough or a certain type of cough, just to, become aware of these things. We have done a lot of camps for, even women's health and hygiene. So we have had, sanitary pads available at the local schools. We have done a lot of adolescent talks, a lot of school camps that happen on a regular basis. So all of this kind of community building exercise and creating an awareness of preventive measures, where a lot of these issues and challenges can be addressed very early on. So I think, and that has only happened over time. It's not something that happened overnight, but as a result of which the women are now, they are our eyes and ears. They are aware of the community health. And generally, like I said, either they will encourage the person to come see the doctor, or they will get in touch with our, field workers or community health workers to say that, we feel so-and-so needs some medical attention.
Yeah. So this is helping you a lot to bring the patients to the clinic and get the treatment or complete the treatment.
Yeah, absolutely.
We also heard that for TB or HIV, like medicines, there are some side effects for which also the treatment is given based on the symptoms of the patient. Without asking by the patient, the doctors are able to give the treatment, and that is really excellent that Prasad Chikitsa is doing. Thank you, Udayanji, to be with us. And for all the villages, basically like this, health should be there. And with this COVID-19, actually this health aspect is highly become important. Thanks a lot for being with us today.
Sure. Yeah, just one thing I'd say, particularly in light of COVID, what we have noticed is because of, again, the relationship that has been built with the community, it was very easy for us to communicate with them upfront. What is COVID? How does it transmit? Why social distancing? Why to wear masks? What can even they do at their village level? And as a result of which, they were very receptive, understanding. Again, there was no fear or panic in terms of, what to expect.
Yeah.
So that has been of tremendous help to us, having that sort of community participation in even dealing with a pandemic like this.
Right. Great work. Really great work of Prasad Chikitsa.
Thank you.
Nivedita, over to you.
Udayan sir, there is one question for you from our audience. What about prompting the natural plant based in the Adivasi wisdom in Ganeshpuri?
Sorry, what about promoting?
The natural plant. नैसर्गिक जे झाडं असतात ते तुम्ही how you can promote this thing in Ganeshpuri? Are you doing something in that direction?
So there has been a pilot program that we have been thinking about, where we can encourage the farmers to grow certain medicinal plants or herbs which can grow within their geographical and topographical setup, that can be used to, again, from a purely preventive or immunity boosting standpoint, can be taken care of. But we don't have a program that is in place currently to address that. But it is definitely
basically it is about medicinal plant.
Medicinal plants, yes.
Okay.
The question is from Yukta Mukhi, our beauty
Vision.
renowned person. So she has asked the question.
ओके सर, नयन खंबाडी सर, तुमच्यासाठी एक प्रश्न आहे.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Have you experienced any behavior change about the best practices regarding community and public toilet in rural areas?
Yes, definitely. Once the toilets are built, then the ladies don't go in a group in the morning in the darkness. They can use the toilets whenever they wish to do. But there are some old folks in the villages who are used to open defecation in the fields. For them, it is a big cultural change not to go to the open fields and go into the proper toilet. So there is a little resistance from them, very, very senior people. But otherwise, by and large, the younger people and the women folk take to it very well, and they adopt to the new things, and then they are definitely leading a more healthy and a more organized and a more hygienic life. So definitely there is a change.
Okay. Sir, one question for Vilasji. Hello, Vilasji. Hello. Vilasji, are you there?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Sir, this is regarding water ATM concept. ज्याच्यामध्ये तुमच्या विलेज मध्ये एका ठिकाणी फिक्स ठिकाणी एटीएम असतं जिथे लोक पैसे देऊन पाणी घेतात, किंवा मोबाईल एटीएम असतात ज्याच्यामध्ये एका फिक्स वेळेला एका फिक्स टायमिंगला लोक जाऊन पाणी घेतात, म्हणजे भरून घेतात आपल्याकडे आणि वापरतात. सो याच्यामध्ये कुठलं मॉडेल तुम्हाला चांगलं वाटतं विलेजच्या दृष्टीने, आणि त्याच्यामध्ये मग तुम्ही जे फिल्ट्रेशन वगैरे पद्धती आम्हाला सांगितल्या त्या कुठल्या कशा रीतीने इम्प्लिमेंट होतात?
याच्यात असं आहे, माझा आवाज येतोय सगळ्यांना?
हो येतोय.
याचा विचार करत असताना तो एरिया किती स्कॅटर्ड आहे. मी दोन गोष्टी बोललो की एटीएम पहिल्यांदा कुठले फिल्ट्रेशन वापरायचे हे वॉटर क्वालिटीवर डिपेंड आहे. म्हणजे आपल्याला त्याचा वॉटर अनालिसिस आपल्या पब्लिक हेल्थ लॅबोरेटरीज प्रत्येक जिल्ह्याच्या ठिकाणी आहेत तिथं करायचं, किंवा कुठली वॉटर टेस्टिंग लॅबोरेटरी असेल अशा ठिकाणी पहिल्यांदा वॉटर टेस्ट करायचं. त्याच्यातले सॉलिड्स म्हणजे डिझॉल्व सॉलिडचं प्रमाण जास्त असेल TDSचं, तर मग कुठल्या तुम्हाला आरो किंवा वेगळ्या सिलेक्टिव्ह सेपरेशन मेथड्स मध्ये जाता येतं. आणि जर फक्त सस्पेंडेड सॉलिड आणि बॅक्टेरियल इन्फेक्शन असे दोनच प्रश्न असतील तर मग सँड फिल्टर, प्रेशर फिल्टर फॉलोड बाय डिसइन्फेक्शन अशा योजनेत जाता येतं. पण हे करण्यासाठी तुम्हाला त्याचे वॉटर स्टँडर्ड्स माहिती करून घेणं आणि वॉटर अनालिसिस करणं या दोन गोष्टीवर पुढची सिस्टीम ठरवता येते. त्याच्या पुढचे म्हणजे वॉटर एटीएम करायचं का एक स्टेशनरी प्लांट करायचा. तर ह्या बाबतीतचा डिसिजन असा असेल की एरिया खूप स्कॅटर्ड असेल तर स्टेशनरी प्लांट केला तर लोकांना यायला प्रॉब्लेम येतो. म्हणजे आता काही भागात जर तुम्हाला सांगायचं झालं तर जुन्नर आणि या भागात वाड्या वस्त्या आहेत, पण तिथनं लोकांना यायला 4-4, 5-5 किलोमीटर यावं लागेल एका सेंट्रल प्लेसला. 50,000ची लोक असतील, पण 50,000 तुम्हाला एक प्लांट केला तर तिथनं 13-14 किलोमीटरला एक तर लोकांना यावं लागेल किंवा इकडून पाईपलाईन किंवा व्हेकल पाठवायला लागेल. तर त्याच्यासाठी वॉटर एटीएम हा जो कन्सेप्ट आहे हा जर तुमच्याकडे ती वस्ती सगळी एकत्र जवळ असेल, 1 किलोमीटरच्या अंतरावर असेल आणि तिथं येऊन लोक पाणी भरून घेऊन जात असतील तर वॉटर एटीएम इज अ गुड कन्सेप्ट. तोही स्टेशनरी. आणि जलदूत सारखी जर योजना असेल तर त्याला तुम्हाला स्कॅटर्ड वस्तीमध्ये ही तिथं पाणी उपलब्ध असेल लोकली तर तिथलं पाणी घ्यायचं, ते ट्रीट करायचं, त्यांना द्यायचं आणि ती व्हेकल परत पुढच्या गावात जाईल किंवा पुढच्या वस्तीत जाईल, तिथलं परत पाणी घेईल, ते ट्रीट करेल आणि त्यांना चांगलं पाणी देऊन पुढे जाईल. अशा प्रकारे करता येतं. म्हणजे वॉटर एटीएम दोन प्रकारे, एक स्टेशनरी आणि एक मोबाईल, या दोन्ही प्रकारचं होऊ शकेल. आणि जर अगदी मोठी वस्ती असेल घरोघरी पाणी पोहोचवण्याची योजना तेवढे इकॉनॉमी त्यांची चांगली असेल तर मग तुम्ही स्टेशनरी एक चांगला प्लांट टाकून त्या प्लांट थ्रू सप्लाय लाईन्स किंवा डिस्ट्रीब्युशन लाईन्स देऊन ते पाणी सगळीकडे पोहोचू शकाल. ठीक आहे.
ओके, थँक्यू.
I think someone has raised the hand, Mr. Jayant Joshi. So can we give him opportunity to speak?
Yes. Sir, please unmute yourself. Joshi sir. Mr. Joshi.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
हा, मराठीतनं विचारला तर चालेल ना प्रश्न?
हो चालेल.
त्यांच्या ह्याच्यामध्ये ज्यावेळी आपण कंपोस्टिंग करतो फिकल मॅटरचं, तर त्याच्यामध्ये कोलिफॉर्मचा प्रॉब्लेम जो येतो, फिकल कोलिफॉर्मचा, त्याच्यासाठी आपण काय केलेलं आहे त्याची व्यवस्था?
सॉरी, प्रश्न परत एकदा पहिला गेला अक्षर लॉस झाला.
हा, आपण फिकल मॅटरचं ज्यावेळी आपण कंपोस्टिंग करतो,
म्हणजे इकोसॅन टाइप ऑफ टॉयलेट मध्ये म्हणतात तुम्ही.
हा, तर त्याच्यामध्ये फिकल कोलिफॉर्म्सचे आपण काय करतो, ते कसे मरतात, म्हणजे त्याची काळजी काय घेतली जाते?
खंबाटी
ते
सर,
जर का ते तसेच राहिले आणि पाण्यामध्ये मिसळले किंवा
I can answer that.
Yeah, I can ask in English also. Whenever we are doing anything, any treatment,
When
whenever
basically
we are
what you
giving the
I'll answer that. Basically, fecal
Okay.
matter is basically organic material, correct?
correct.
Once you digest it, it changes from the unstable organic material into stable organic material, and some gases are emitted, and the
Yeah.
stable organic material basically is the compost.
Yes.
Okay. Now what happens is,
Yes.
during the process of digestion, a lot of coliform bacteria, because it's a long drawn process, it takes almost like from 15 days to 1 month for the fecal matter to
Okay.
get digested and get converted into compost.
Huh.
So there is a
Yeah,
natural
correct.
there is a reduction, almost about 99.99% reduction is there in the coliform count during the process of digestion.
Okay.
Okay, and then the rest of the thing, once you store it in the open sun, then the UV rays of the sunlight will take care of the balanced coliform. So after a while, it will be coliform free.
Achha. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, fine.
Anyone like to ask question?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
आणखीन एक प्रश्न होता.
हा, बोला.
आपण वॉटर ट्रीटमेंट करत असताना जर का त्याच्यामध्ये TDS जास्त नसेल, टोटल डिझॉल्व सॉलिड जास्त नसतील, आणि सस्पेंडेड मॅटर आपण फिल्ट्रेशन केलं, तर त्याचं नुसतं ओझोनायझेशन केलं तर चालेल का? हॅलो, माझा प्रश्न ऐकू येतोय?
विलासजी, युअर ऑडिओ इज म्यूट.
हा, विलासजी. हॅलो.
विलासजी, युअर ऑडिओ इज म्यूट.
हा, आता ऐकू येते? येस.
हा, विलासजी,
मला प्रश्न ऐकू आला तुमचा.
हा, ओके, बोला.
दोन प्रकार आहे. पहिली गोष्ट म्हणजे, जर समजा तुम्हाला ते पाणी लगेच कंझ्युम करायचं आहे, तर म्हणजे आपल्या किचन मध्ये जर बसवलंय आणि ओझोन लगेच दिला किंवा UV दिला आणि ते पाणी लगेच कंझ्युम केलं, तर ओझोनेशन इज गुड वन. पण ओझोनेशनला रिटेन्शन, हॅलो, UV ला रिटेन्शन नाही, आणि ओझोनेशनच्या बाबतीतलं रिटेन्शन हे मेजर करणं आणि तेवढ्या मोठ्या प्रमाणात देणं हे खूप कॉस्टली असल्यामुळे लोक क्लोरीन कडे जातात, कारण क्लोरीन रिटेन होतं. तुम्ही दुसऱ्या दिवशी जरी चेक केलं तरी 0.15 असं क्लोरिनेशन तुम्हाला फ्री क्लोरीन मिळतो, रेसिड्युअल क्लोरीन. ओझोनेशनला तो फार कमी असतो, आणि जसं टेम्परेचर वाढेल तसं ओझोन उडून पण जातो सगळा, ऑक्सिजन उडून. त्यामुळं ओझोनेशन अजूनही तेवढं पॉप्युलर झालेलं नाही. इट इज कॉस्टली अफेअर ॲज वेल एज नॉट स्टेबिलिटी.
ओके. Thank you.
Any question? Okay, I think we are at the end of our session. Thank you, sir. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, panelists. Truly, rural development is an important not only for the majority of population residing in rural area, but growth of rural activity also. It is necessary to stimulate the speed of overall economic expansion of the nation. It is a strategy to obtain improved rural creation and productivity, higher socio-economic equality, and stability in social and economic development. With this note, I would like to thank Dr. Aditi Kare, Mr. Vilas Kulkarni, Mr. Nayan Khambati sir, and Mr. Udayan Bhatt for their valuable contribution for today's session. Thank you so much, sir. I would also like to thank all the participants for making this webinar successful. Without your presence, it was not possible. In addition to this, I would like to thank Mrs. Pragnya Thakur, Director Shashwat, for providing me opportunity to host this session. Thank you. Thank you for being there. See you again in the next series. Thank you.
Thanks, Nivedita, for organizing.
We are organizing our next webinar on 18th of August.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.